What is your full name?
My name is Ruslan Abdurrahmanov.
I'm going to ask you some questions about photos. Do you like taking photographs?
Yes, I do. I like taking photos, especially I like taking photos of nature and animals. Most of the time, I try to spend my weekends going to nature and taking pictures of whatever attracts me.
How often do you take photos?
Not so often. On a daily basis, I take photos of my home assignments, but most of the time I try not to take photos. I only take photos when it is really something important to keep in my phone.
In which situation do you like taking photos?
I like taking photos most when I'm traveling because this is the way how I can share my experience with other people. I don't really like writing blogs about my travel experience, but instead I like sharing my pictures. I like sharing the pictures that I took while traveling.
How do you keep your photos?
I like keeping my photos in my phone because it is very convenient and comfortable way of doing so. And plus, whenever I need to look at them or whenever I need one of those photos, I always have access in my phone.
Let's speak about music. Do you often listen to music?
Yes, I often listen to music because I really like listening to music. And my favorite genre is rock and pop.
How much time do you spend listening to music every day?
On a daily basis, I spend about 1 or 2 hours on listening to music, and most of the time I put my earphones while I'm going to my work or while I'm going to supermarkets.
What kinds of music do you like to listen to?
These days, I like listening to pop music, but in the past, I really enjoyed some rock bands such as Queen and Beatles. But my taste so far has changed a bit, and these days I'm listening to singers such as Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber.
Have you ever been to a concert before?
Unfortunately, no, I haven't been, but I have some plans in the future to attend one of my favorite singers' concerts, such as Enrique Iglesias or Ed Sheeran, and that would be a very unique experience for me.
Let's move to part 2. In this part, you will be given a topic to talk about. You have 1 minute to prepare to talk about the topic. After that, you should talk 1 or 2 minutes about the topic. Describe an interesting conversation you had with someone you did not know. You should say who the person was, where the conversation took place, what you talked about, and explain why the conversation was interesting for you.
Alright, so now I'm going to talk about a conversation that I had years ago with a stranger that I did not really know. So it happened, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 years ago at university campus. I was on the second floor waiting for my exam results, and out of nowhere, I came across with this stranger. I had no idea about this man. I didn't know who he was. But then suddenly he started asking me some questions about what I was doing there, what I was waiting, and etc. And at first, I was very hesitant about this man. I didn't know if I had to answer his questions or not. But then I reluctantly started answering his question. But then things started getting smoother. We started discussing a lot of things that we had in common, and one of them was language teaching. As it turned out, he had his own language center and he was very interested in my qualifications and in the methods that I used during teaching English. Besides, he also asked me about my language level, and I told him that I had 7.5 on IELTS, and then he even offered me a job. I was very shocked at that time because I did not expect him to offer me any job opportunities. But then I told him that I needed some time to think about his offer. I thought this interesting would not be interesting for me at all at first, because this guy was quite older, so I thought we would have this age difference between us. But this was not a trouble for us at all, because we had a lot of things in common.
I'm going to ask you a few questions about music. What kind of music is popular in your country?
These days, genres such as pop and rock are quite popular in my country. Youth are spending most of their time listening to these members of the genre. Well, I think it's happening because they can give us energy that we need in our lives.
What do old people like listen to?
Well, in my opinion, old people like listening to songs from 80s and 90s, mostly because it can help them it can help them think about the things that happened in their childhood, thinking about how time flies fast and how things used to be in their childhood.
Do you think it is possible to judge someone's personality from their taste in music?
Yeah, well, I think so, because most people who like rock, they most of the time they are very likely to show their aggression whenever people do not agree with them. And pop listeners, they are quite energetic people in life.
Let's continue with the questions about people's taste in music. What kind of music do children nowadays like to listen to?
Nowadays, children like listening to artists such as A$AP Rocky or Justin Bieber, mostly because they are influenced by their style. They may not pay enough attention to what these people are saying in their songs, but they are greatly influenced by their style and by their music style.
Why do people like listening to music?
There are several reasons why people like listening to music. First of all, it's a form of entertainment that everyone needs. Besides, people like having some rest while listening to music, so it helps us relax. Besides, some people like listening to music so that they can focus on something very important.
Do you think music at present different from music 10 years ago?
Definitely. 10 years ago, music was much more meaningful. If you paid attention to the lyrics of songs in 2000s, they were more about love, they were more about respect. But now songs are mostly about doing whatever you like, either doing whatever you like or they are not meaningful at all.